Hello! Hopefully you can all hear me. So, welcome to the first ever Coppice Development stream. I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Martin, and I'm the owner of M-Cube Software, and the developer of Coppice. So, with this stream, what my plan is to build almost an experiment. I've seen a lot of game developers and web developers actually using Twitch to show off how they build their games or how they build websites, and I thought it would be good to try and experiment with that in the Mac and iOS communities. So I'm going to show off some of my development. Now, I've been developing for the Mac and iOS for over 17 years now, so I've been doing this for quite a while. And most of my time I spend doing contract work, but I'm also an indie app developer, and my app is Coppice. So what I want to do is show you how an app is built, how I design it, build it, answer any questions about software development, and basically just bring you along for the journey and demystify some of how these apps are built and what it takes to build these apps. So, let me introduce you to the stream. So this is what we're probably going to be looking at most of the time. It's a fairly simple stream. It's just my screen. And you'll notice that today we don't actually have Xcode open, we have Photoshop open. And the reason for that is we're actually going to be doing some design work. So, with Coppice, I released it about 18 months ago now, in 2020, and over the past year or so I've released a few updates to it, with the most recent one being in November. And what I'm starting today is work on the next version of Coppice, working out exactly what the UI should be for the features I want to add. So if you look around the stream, you can see in the top right I have some Twitter handles if you would like to follow either me or Coppice itself on Twitter. In the bottom left you can see where you can get Coppice, available for the Mac. In the bottom right we have my little avatar, because I don't really want to have a camera on me for several hours while I'm pondering development. So I've got a little robot in the bottom, and this little robot has several cool things. One, it lights up when I speak, but it also has a few expressions, such as confusion when I'm wondering why on earth I did something, worry when I realise why I did something and it was a bad idea. And this is the Xcode face, where Xcode is doing something ridiculous, or Swift is doing something ridiculous, and I need to rage for a bit. But hopefully most of the time we will be on this nice, happy, friendly face. So let me introduce you to Coppice, considering that's what we're going to be working on. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, this is Coppice. And from first glance it looks like yet another note-taking app. You can add notes on the left, text notes, you can add images to it, you can change all your fonts and paragraph settings and stuff, and nothing seems particularly new about Coppice. But then we get to canvases up here, and this is where Coppice gets interesting, because you could do something simple like drag a page onto the canvas, resize it and move it around and close it again, but you also have these links between pages. Now if I go over here and just click on the link while I'm in the page in full screen, it just takes me to that page. However, if I click on it while it is on the canvas, it opens it up over here. If I then click on image pages, you'll see that it opens up a linked page, but also several others, because I've clicked this link before, and so it actually remembers everything. So you can actually visually put your notes in, arrange them how you wish, link them together and create these branching trees. And that is really the special sauce of Coppice, it lets you build these structures out. It's great for those projects where you want to really spend time adding to it and referencing it later. It's an app that is designed to let you use the information you throw in. Now, with Copppice, there's quite a lot of power in here already. But while text pages are very powerful, you can change all these settings around fonts and paragraphs, and you can create links to new pages. Images, you can add an image, and you can add a description. And they're kind of not as useful. So that is where the next version of Copppice comes in. So if I bring up my to-do list, we can see what the next version of Copppice is going to be. Now, some of these are just bugs that I need to work through and fix, but down here at the bottom are the main things that I want to change. So the first thing I want to change is add the ability to customize some of these images. For example, if you add an image onto a canvas, you can resize it and it will scale, but you can't crop it and you can't rotate it. You've got to go and open up another app to do those. So I want to add those features in, just some simple editing apps so that you can build those in. I also want to allow you to actually create links from image pages. So I want you to be able to start drawing over an image and actually have a hotspot over it. And then with that hotspot, you can select it and add a link to another page. So that is the big new feature, linking from an image page to another page. But I also want to add some additional functionality, some smarter functionality for the paid version of the app. So on text pages, if I go here, I can select here and I can type in a link. So I could type in paragraph inspector, hit there, and it's added a link. But with the Pro version, it will automatically find links for me. So if I just type pages, it automatically sees there is a page called pages and adds it in. And I can link to that. So, what I want to do on image pages is do something similar. I want to experiment with some machine learning where it will actually detect the text on the page, detect that there is a page with the same text, and actually create the link for you. I also want to add the ability to do image searching. So when you search for page, rather than showing all things here that are just based on the text, it will actually show, if I search for text page, it will show that image that we were just looking at because this text is in there. So I want to add these Pro features in. So what we're going to be doing today is working out how exactly the UI should look for all this, because that is the first step of designing any real feature, is working out how on earth the user is going to use it. So let's go over to Photoshop. Actually, what we want to do first is take a screenshot of this. And we go into Photoshop and paste it in. So this is going to be the foundation of our design. Now, what we really need is to work out where these controls are going to go. So I have two options. We could either put them in sort of a sub toolbar up here, or we could put them somewhere in the inspector over here. So what I want to do is actually have a look again at Copppice. see what we've already done. Hi Morgana. So let's have a look here. So if we start with the rotation and cropping, what I need to work out is what level of rotation and cropping do I want to add in? Do I want to add it where you can put it at any angle, or just rotate 90 degrees? And I'm thinking 90 degrees. Because that's enough for 90% of, well, over 90% of what people want, and it can just be a set of simple buttons. For the cropping, that will require us to go into some sort of edit mode. So the problem I've been having, I've been pondering this for a while, is fundamentally I find inspectors, I feel like I want them to be something that you edit. They represent properties on an object. So there aren't really actions. Now the one action there is size to fit content, but what that does is that changes properties that you can change elsewhere. For example, here I can expand this out and do size to fit content, and it updates values up here. And again, there's a button here, but that shows the font panel. So I'm kind of hesitant to actually stick some buttons in here. So what I might do is first experiment with a toolbar that goes along the top. Of course, then the problem with the toolbar goes along the top, you then need a toolbar inside of here. And this is why UI design is hard, because there are many ways of doing things and none of them are really particularly good. Do my usual fallback and look at what other people are doing. Let's have a quick look at Omnigraf. They have flip. Alignment. Have some actions built in. So when you're designing, one of the key things to always do is just look at what other people have done and get inspiration, because you generally want to fit in with the platform where possible. Doesn't mean that everything has to look exactly the same on every single platform, and you don't have to completely copy everything, but you want to get like a general sense so things actually fit in. Look here. Action there. Really. Insert table. Okay, so there are actions in here. Yeah, move back, forward. Okay, so maybe let's experiment with sticking some controls into the sidebar. Do it that way. By the way, if anyone in chat has any questions at any point, just throw them in chat and I'll try to answer them. Or if you have any suggestions. Unfortunately, free ice cream clogs up the tubes of the internet, so it's something I've considered, but it's something that the internet would not thank me for. Seeing how janky my wire design process is. So we need buttons for oh. Need controls to rotate left, rotate right. We need controls to... we could do flip left and flip, like flip horizontally and flip vertically. I'm not sure how useful they would be. Let's leave those out for now. We need crop. Icon. So SF Symbols provides a very good starting point for any icons that you want to do. Just have to make sure that you select right font, which is the SF Pro font. Then you can just paste these in as text. And insert them in. So if we put that there. There. Pasting it in the font. Okay. Alright, so we have rotate left, rotate right. That is a crop, so we can copy that. Not like pasting and matching the font. All our controls to edit. So these ones are actually going to be fairly simple. You literally click it and it will just rotate. For cropping, we actually need to design what will happen, because cropping will actually enable a cropping mode. And where this gets interesting is on here, it's not too difficult because we've got this big open space, you can see everything. Generally, the region that you're going to be cropping is going to be, like the image is going to be smaller than the window. Not always, but it is. But when you are in a canvas, it's already going to be scaled down, potentially. It's going to, it may already have been cropped, so if the user wants to crop it again, and one of the key things is I want to make it non-destructive, so if you crop down and save it, and then crop again, you can actually crop back out to the full image size. So I need to work out how you would do that here. So one option is make it scrollable, which I believe if you have a big enough image, this already is. Big. Make. Pay. No. Scales it down. That brings up an interesting question of image size, because scaling behavior is going to work. Change things somewhat, because you may want to zoom in to scale correctly. So you can just scale it up this way, but the problem is that you need a big screen to do that. One way of doing it is you would have go into crop mode, and you can crop down, or you can just reset. And resetting would actually just reset it all the way back to full height, and then you can crop down again, rather than having it where you click and drag it back up. Because that would make this a lot easier, because then if you crop this down, you can just click reset and the page would actually expand to fill the full thing, and then you can just crop it back down again. Or maybe going into edit mode just expands the page anyway. You go crop it, you expand the page, recrop it, and then it shrinks it back down. That might actually be the best solution. Yeah, so let's go with that. So, what? Need is a bigger image. So, paste this in. Get them same option. Got a white shadow on it. Let's get rid of that, because that is really affect doing design work, but I prefer to get rid of it so that I can make it look semi-readable. It's a bit better. So, have a thing. So when you click crop, what we are probably going to... So we're going to want a bounding box of this. So let's name some of these layers first. Vector. Image page. And then above that we want go around like this. that. Okay, so from there, just stroke. Okay. So what we want is size handles. Circle. Let's go for some. Or I have a better idea. So 8 points tall. Make the accent gradient. Right, and then a stroke. I want white stroke, and let's max. Maybe mechanism. What's missing is a drop shot. That's starting to be a bit. seen shadows like I want, controls like I want before, and I can't remember whether it was Omnigraf or... No. Box. Pages? Boxes. It's when you crop that I've seen. Actually crop images in pages. Edit mask. Oh. That's effectively what I want. Have the drop shadow and highlight on top. If I get rid of the stroke, I want a drop shadow that is wait a sec. Bit of a drop shadow, but you also have a stroke, but the stroke is outside, black, and then have your inner shadow. Pixel. Yeah, so I think the thing that's messing this up is the purple, so let's just make it a grey. That's background. So what I'm aiming for is basically you would have something like this on both ends, and then the corners you would have something, this is going to be very rough, something like that in the corners so that you could really tell that you're dragging the corners. But I think what I'm going to have to do is just go for something that isn't quite as advanced. Cannot work out exactly how I want these to look. Now the shapes, I just cannot work out the actual what would happen if take this because there is one thing that I am not taking into account here is that. Black. And we want probably 30%. And this complete. So I wonder if that will make them stand out a bit. What is this? Is how I actually find colours. I type something like that, then I go to the colour picker, and there is a full developer colour picker over here, so I can go here and get the control accent colour, because you don't have access to these in Photoshop. And I can go back here, select that, and then paste that in. So it is the darker colour. Okay. Gradient overlay, what we want. I want to be this. That's really much gradient. That actually looks better without the gradient. Does add a little bit of depth to it. So let's just keep that in. Right. That great. Really down. We need to get rid of that and probably drop shadow. How bright white actually stands out a bit more. And make it I'll have the stroke, but we'll... Drop shadow. This is looking better. Corner version. We modify. So, drop. Two more points across, which brings us to about there. Let do with being let here point that point up there. Of a point. No. But these. Here, because these points. So, this point here. There. Should be point. That's not. $13. I think what we need point here. Flip vertical. That's what I was looking for. So I think that looks fairly good. But it makes it completely clear that you're resizing the sides. That. Up. So that's what it looks like when you first open it up, and then what we want to do is that up, not cropped. Cropped, just see what it looks like when it do this. What I'm going to do is there, bring there. There. In and then that, and we're just going to bring the controls in. Bring it F, up, there, bottom. Up to there. I think, looking at that, then looks a lot clearer than 30%. So this is generally what you do with UI design. It's a lot of playing around, tweaking things, doing like the ideal initial state and then tweaking with other states. This is something that a lot of UI designers, in my experience, who aren't developers, get wrong. They often focus a lot more on the ideal states and they don't focus enough on how does it actually all interact, how does it fit together, what are all the edge cases that you will have to deal with. So there's a lot of stuff where to be a really good developer, you also have to be a reasonable designer. And to be a really great designer, you've got to be a fairly reasonable, not necessarily knowing how to build the app, but have some sense, have some like engineer brain to rationalize all these things that could happen, all these different places that it could go to. So we need to look around. So you need to sort of think about where can things go wrong? Where can your designs fall apart? So looking in this, the ideal scenario, it feels fine, but when you start working with things, for example, on the canvas, it's working out how is that actually going to interact, because something that can work fine here may not work well there. I think I'm fairly happy with how this is looking. Oh yeah, 50% is definitely better, and if I switch back to that and switch this to that looks much better. So what I need to look at now so rotation, cropping. I think that all works fairly well. This space, I really feel like it needs something in that space. Or maybe not. Maybe I can get away. Oh. But long. Just point. That's a bit. Yeah, managed to mess up Photoshop the other day, and all my palettes are in the wrong place, and I can't find half of them because something. Oh, properties there. Now that's the work. I mean, I could do separate inspectors, but I don't. Uh, Point line in white. Perfect. That can fit. Edit image. Hotspots, and then we can have some more buttons. So for the hotspots, going to be 3 potential hotspots. The first is going to be just a simple square, and that's what's going to be available in the free version. And then the pro version is going to give you the option of doing a circular hotspot, and then I'm going to try with just a polygon, so that you can actually click around and just draw a polygon shape. So for the icons for those, I'm not going to go and start designing icons for those, but if there are. Let's have symbols. If there's anything that we can use. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything that I can use as is. Closest would be something like that, potentially. Cool. Yeah, something like that. I'm not sure, but we'll leave it as is for now. But you'll have 3 buttons there for editing, for adding hotspots. Right, so the next thing, well, first things first, there is, I have not done it yet, is let's save. And something I don't like in the latest version of Photoshop is every time you save, it's showing this save to Creative Cloud thing. And no, I don't want to save to Creative Cloud, I want to save it on my computer, and there does not seem to be a way that I have found that lets you do that by default. So let's go and save. So make sure that's saved so we don't lose all the work we've done. And let's have a go at how we want hotspots to. So there are different ways that hotspots need to work. They need to be visible on the image and obvious on the image so that the user knows they can click on them. When the user clicks on them, they need to actually go to the link. The user also needs to be able to click on them to edit them. Now, in Copppice already, in a text, so I go to a text page, if you just click on a link, it takes you to it. But if you actually option click, it will select it. So I think using the same behavior of option click lets you select would work, and regular click is okay, and then you can have a right click on it, which lets you either follow link or edit link, a bit like in a browser or something like that. So see what happens if I click yeah, so there's an edit link. Oh, that's edit link. So there'd be a edit hotspot, and once it's selected, then the link inspector comes up and you can change it. So have that interaction, and when you're in edit mode, then you would have the ability to resize the hotspot. Now for the hotspot, what I'm thinking is it will be sort of the inverse of cropping. So whereas cropping, it darkens everything around and leaves this bright, I think for a hotspot, we're going to have it brighten up what is in the middle and have a border around. Probably a more obvious border. So that would work. And the reason that I wanted something like this on the crop is on the hotspots, I do want to have just corner things, because for a square, you're going to be able to drag about any corner of the square to resize the square. For a circle, again, it's going to be the corners of a square, but there's going to be a circle in the middle. And for the polygon, each point on the polygon, each vertex is going to be what you're able to drag and actually move that around. So, by the way, if anyone in chat does have any questions about what is going on, or any questions about design or development, feel free to post them in and I'll try to answer them. Looks. Right, so let's have. Let's get a new for hotspot. What we're going to do is draw over here. This is going to be our hotspot. So let's take this and here you go. That. Delete that because we don't want rounded numbers on it. So we take that off and drag this round again. That'd be 50. Maybe we want it to be 10. And definitely want a stroke on this. Oh, that's set the opacity. Want the opacity to, oh, we want the fill to be 10%. Because then all our effects show up. So we'll just stick it on the inside for now. Opacity percent maybe. Maybe 60%, and then when someone hovers over it, right, I'll have a base hotspot. Hover, let's change that to our accent color. For anyone who doesn't know, the accent color is actually from so this here, where you have the accent color, the user can actually select what color they have. I believe it defaults to multicolor. It might default to blue. Previously it just used to be blue and grey, but as you can see, if I change things, all these little hints here all change. Your text selection color changes. We can do pink, red, orange, yellow, green, or graphite. It used to just be blue and graphite, but they added all these other colors in. There are actually some fancy ones where these colors on the new iMacs are actually slightly different. So you can get one where, depending on what color iMac you get, the accent color matches the iMac. So these are subtly different, so you can actually get them matching the color of your actual computer, which is a cool little thing, but it's something that you need to be careful of. But conveniently, one of the standard system colors is control accent color. So, and I've just changed that. Yeah. Okay. do that. My dock has just crashed, so I'm not sure whether this may break the stream, but we will see. Still on? Okay, we still seem to be streaming. Oh, it's not Photoshop, is it? Okay, so that... There we go. Right. Oh, what was I doing? System preferences. General. Set it back to purple so I can do my designing. I have no idea what happened there, but the dock decided to crash, so I couldn't actually switch apps. Right, what am I doing? Ah yes, text edit, selecting, accent color. And then what we're going to do is on this stroke, this in. Now, we definitely be full saturation. It'll look like this. Five. That looks like. Let's grab an image like this. See what it looks like of it. So what it looks like that, because we actually do what cropping looks like once. Yeah, that still looks good. So for a hotspot, you'd have a hotspot there. Not sure about that. Velocity is happen if have something like that. Don't see it at all. Oh. what we need. Did that? Shows up a lot. So we definitely need stroke to be a different colour. Probably need to be black. Because then on a dark view like this, you can see on the highlighted bit, on the mid thing, you can see both the border there, and when it's light, you still have the outline. Yes, so colour blindness is something that needs taken into account, but I mean, I can show you what it would look like with colour blindness. I actually have this wonderful app called Simdaltonism, and what it does is it lets you look through what things look like. So what I can do is, you've got all these filters up here, so if I just do normal vision, this is what the app looks like, and if I just shift it over like this, so you can see what it looks like. But if I switch to that, this is, so these first ones are red green issues, so normal, red green issue, and you see it's a subtle difference. I mean, on the left hand side the pink turns blue, but most of the rest of this doesn't really change. Go over here, you can see that it's a slightly different, it's mostly affecting the pinks over here and tweaking them. You see that had a bigger thing, I think that's taken even more of the red out. The blue is almost the colour of just a standard blue. So this is just different levels of losing red and green. Then you get yellow blue, where you see this has become pink now rather than purple, and the sky, if I show what it's normal like again, up here it's kind of a yellowy orangey pink. It's just gone straight pink now. And there are two subtle things. Again, you can see it a lot more over here. And then we get to full monochrome and partial monochrome, which is you just don't have any colour vision. Now the key thing here is you can see the contrast, and the contrast is the important thing for stuff like accessibility. So if I just turn this off and we go through and see that it doesn't. Oh yes, it does help if I'm in Photoshop, so I just go through and you can see the contrast isn't amazing, but it is still visible. So then if I go there and go back here, you can still clearly see where things are. So it has it should work right. Color blindness matters when you have similar colors together and you want color accuracy, but the contrast generally isn't as big of a deal. I mean, the best way to really see for color blindness is just make it grayscale. If you take all color out, is it still usable? Can you still tell things? What you shouldn't be doing is using color to signify something. So, I mean, one thing you can see here is that you've got these buttons look similar in color, but if I switch back to normal, this one is actually bright purple. Now, if purple was the only way that you're distinguishing that this is enabled, because otherwise, in fact, if I bring the actual thing over and I switch to Monochrome, you see there's not a huge amount of difference. Like, it's inverting the gradient, but that's roughly about it. Whereas if I switch it to normal, okay, that seems to have got stuck. Yep. Oh no, it was just in the background. Yep, silly me. Let's bring that across again. So you can see the colour really makes it pop. So what you need to do is have other indicators, such as the check mark that indicates it. Whereas if you have, if we close that, over here, it's not a big issue. You have the colour highlighting it, but it isn't just the colour. It's the contrast of the colour. So you can see the contrast between the two that highlights it. So you need to have multiple things. So using colour is fine, but you need to also use something other than colour. So be that contrast, be that some sort of symbol, be that a shape. I mean, anything where you have like red, green, yellow, or whatever, you want to actually have shapes. I mean, a brilliant example is actually on the Mac. Let me just shift this down. You got red, yellow, green here for your controls. But you have a cross, you have a line for minimize, and you have the arrows for full screen. So you can see that they are perfectly readable when you have absolutely no view of colour. So that is something that you've always got to take into account. People can often overstate colour blindness, thinking like you can't use colours at all. You can, you just have to use multiple ways. And the thing is, this helps people who aren't colourblind. Like, being able to, like, just having a red, a yellow and a green button, what do they do? Red, you maybe think there's something dangerous. Green, you think is safe. But what do they mean otherwise? And depending on what theme you change, the colours may change as well. But having the symbols appear makes it understand what's going on. If this checkbox didn't have the check in it, then making it coloured, what does that mean? But a checkbox, people know that means this is enabled. So it's something where you've got to be aware of it, but it's something that is a lot simpler to fix than a lot of people may realise. So let's get back to working out what is going on here. I think the hotspot doesn't look too bad. Don't apologise for the tangent. Asking question. Part of this stream is to teach people about how to design and develop software. So things like that, where people may consider something like that, it's great for me to share that knowledge, and hopefully people learn from it and either understand the process of what people have to go through to design and develop an app, or learn, if they're developers or designers themselves, learn about these things to apply to their own app and make their own apps better. So things like that are the sorts of things that I want to do this stream for, so it's fantastic to answer those sorts of questions. And it gives a break from me staring at Photoshop going, So it certainly makes the stream a lot more interesting than me staring at stuff, though hopefully when we get to actually start implementing some of this, that's where things will both get a lot more interesting and a lot more boring at the same time as I puzzle over things. A lot of the puzzling at the moment is largely pixel pushing, which some people find interesting, some people don't, but when you're an indie developer, you've got to do everything. So this works. But it doesn't look amazing. What does it... Copy this over here. Yeah, I think that makes it a lot brighter, but I think it is worth doing. Now, I wonder about the stroke, whether the stroke should be thicker. Copy layer style and paste layer style. Enable that. See, I think that looks better with the thicker border. It makes it stand out a lot more, makes it less likely that it's going to blend in. Now for the hover, so we can have the hover there, but I don't think the hover is enough. So, first of all, let's have the hover use our accent. See what that looks like. Right, so that's starting to look better. But if we also make it thicker, I do need an alternate look. Oh yeah, that's a definite yeah, that is definitely enough of a change. By the way, if you are enjoying the stream, I hope you'd give me a follow. I'm hoping to do this stream fairly regularly, 2 times a week if possible, on the days that I'm not doing contract work. So if you are enjoying the stream, hopefully you'll give me a follow and be able to follow future streams. Right, so maybe that. Let's get rid of that. Go back to so we have our harvest state. We need is edit. If for editing, one thing I definitely want for editing, some circle. Oh, let's go. Yeah. No. That's what. Photoshop sometimes baffles me. I don't want those to be 50. Let's make them 10. 10. White with a black stroke. Percent with a drop shadow. That's a fair point. I've never, in all my years of using Photoshop, used styles, and it would be kind of useful to have those. I think that was okay, but yeah, it might actually be a bit big. Let's reduce. That looks a bit better. I wonder if I do something similar to scrolling out. So if I pick up the have a look. Ah yes, it is. So if I zoom right in, you can see this is white and black. So I wonder it look like if stroke you can't really... Oh, pattern. It's a lot. That. Yeah, I think that looks good. I will save. And then what I want to do, if this down, cross, that in black, down there. So what is going to happen? In fact, this control. Ellipsis, shift, edit control. So when you start editing, it's going to look like that, which I think is what we want. So oh yeah. Yep, that is what we want. We might be able to get away with making black a bit. Oh. %. Keep the white. But then if we go and yeah, I think that looks okay. That'll do. May need tweaking a bit. We may make a bit thinner when we actually implement it, but I think alternating black and white really helps make sure that it's going to be clear on everything, at any sort of image. So yeah, I think this is good. So let's try more thing, which is, what about a circle? Because for a polygon, this is going to be pretty. For a polygon, this is going to be pretty simple, where you're going to have, just imagine sticking like another point in here and dragging it out, and you're just going to have arrows. So there's not going to be any sort of curves or anything like that on the polygon. It is literally, say you wanted to do this mountain, it would just be like the polygon tool here. You click. Oh no, that's not the one. Hit custom shape. Nope, it's not that. Ah, it'll be like the wand tool. So you can just click, 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 click. And you can basically just do something like this, and each of these vertexes will be one of these points, and you'll be able to drag them around, and I need to work out like overlapping and stuff, which probably will disallow. I probably won't let you overlap them, but it will be something like that that will let you do polygon shape. The circle, however, like for a polygon, if this was a polygon, you would be able to drag this point here and just drag it up, and then these two lines would go to the point. For a square, if you drag it, it's going to resize it up and down. The problem with a circle is it's a fixed radius. So if I just draw a circle in here, I mean, I don't really want it to be a circle, I want it to be an ellipse tool. So let's do this, because this is a rectangle rather than a square. Copy. Styles, paste, style. So the question is whether I have it shows a square bounding box around the circle, and you basically resize it and it shows the circle over the image. I think that's the way I'm probably going to do it, because it means I can effectively reuse the code in theory for the square, and you can just resize any corner, drag it, and I'm literally just drawing a circle inside the square, which is pretty easy to do. So I think, yeah, I think that is probably what I'm going to do for that. And the polygon is easy enough to do. So yeah, so we have, I think that's been a very productive time. So we have hotspots, so you can drop from something down to something else, and for hotspots you can have like a base hotspot in, you can hover over it, and you can do edit controls of that, and circle and the polygon, as I've explained, does the same. And then over here in the inspector, I may tweak that some more, but I think that's something that will work okay for now. inspectors are one of the hardest things to design. Actually designing the inspector in Copppice, like designing these, getting the controls in, making sure it's using the space well, is pretty difficult. The link control, there was a question of, do I want all these hotspot things in the link section, but then I don't need them for certain things, so it makes it better being hotspots are in the image section. So yeah, I think that is a good set of designs. So I think most of the interactions are sorted out. Having them in here gets rid of the issue of needing a toolbar in the canvas. For drawing hotspots, that's easy enough. For rotating on the canvas is easy enough, and for cropping we can just temporarily scale up and scale down the image. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. And as it is 4 PM and I was just having this be a 2-hour stream, I think I will call that for the end of the stream. So thank you all for watching the first ever Coppice development stream. I hope you have enjoyed it, or at least found it interesting. I hope you have learnt something potentially along the way, and I hope you'll give me a follow as I continue streaming. I'm planning hopefully to stream again on Monday at 2 PM. Probably a bit longer stream then, probably do a 3-hour stream, and we will probably have a look at starting developing some of these features. So, no, I will not answer your question, Jen, and if you're careful I will ban you, even though you are my friend. Umagod K, yes, coding streams are what will primarily be happening. I'm hoping to maybe start coding on some of this on Monday. So my current plan for streaming is I do contracting alternating 3 and 4 day weeks. So Mondays I always have half. So I'm hoping Mondays 2 PM UK time till about 5 PM I'll be able to do every Monday, and then it'll be alternating between Fridays and Saturdays. So I'm hoping to start coding. I actually have the project here that was ready just in case we finished soon, but hopefully on Monday we can start getting some stuff in, having a go at coding, walking you through the code base. But yeah, primarily this will be coding, but as I'm an indie developer I need to do this, I need to do design, people asking questions and so on. So if you have any coding questions, feel free to save them up, and when we get working on coding, hopefully on Monday, we will have stuff there. But thank you all for listening, and I will see you all on Monday.